The war in Ukraine has opened a new can of worms for the world. Vladimir Putin has made it okay for countries to threaten other countries under the banner of protecting ethnic citizens. If you don't understand what I mean, I am referring to Putin's claim that he invaded Ukraine to protect the ethnic Russians living within its borders. Unfortunately, one of Putin's strongest allies, the Serbian nation, has started to learn from its bigger brother, and it's their admiration of the Russian regime that gave them the idea. On the 22nd of February, a local Serbian newspaper declared, "Ukraine attacks Russia." That headline was not the only one. It was merely an expression of the pro-Putin mentality that has been exceptionally strong in Serbia for many years. As most of the world condemned Russia's aggression against Ukraine, much of the media in Serbia turned to praising them. Almost all of the country's media celebrated the destruction of Ukrainian cities and gave overwhelming support to Russian armed forces. The killing of civilians, the leveling of cities and the destruction of cultural monuments appeared to make the media genuinely excited. Pro-Russia rallies took place in Belgrade, at which the crowd cheered Putin and the letter Z was scrawled on the asphalt. The rest of the world shuddered as it watched real-time coverage of corpses on the streets of Bucha, civilians sheltering from Russian shells in underground stations, and millions of refugees fleeing their country. But instead of compassion for innocent victims, understanding for the criminals seemed the response of Putin's Serbian fans. So, it stands to reason that they would feel emboldened by Putin and his actions to justify their own. Kosovo declared independence from Serbia in 2008, but Serbia has refused to recognize it, and has actively encouraged Kosovo's 120,000 Serbs to defy Kosovo's authority, especially in the north where they make up the majority. Keeping in mind that Kosovo has roughly 1.8 million ethnic Albanians, meaning the Serbs make up less than 10% of the population, it should be noted that their declaration of independence has been contentious, resulting in them not being seated at the UN. Ironically, due to the logical belief that Russia would oppose it and has already vowed a plan of retaliation, or whatever the hell that means. Of course, this stance by Russia only solidified their status as a superhero in the eyes of the Serbian people, who violently deny the independence, and have promised to upset its recognition at every level internationally. As of the 4th of September 2020, 114 UN states recognized its independence, including all of its immediate neighbors, with the exception of Serbia. However, 15 states have subsequently withdrawn recognition of the Republic of Kosovo. It should be pointed out that China also does not recognize Kosovo's independence. The Serbian army has been put on a heightened state of alert over tensions with Kosovo multiple times in recent years, the last time in November, after the government claimed that several drones entered Serbian airspace from Kosovo. Serbian armed forces were recently placed on the highest level of alert, highlighting the Balkan countries' ever-worsening relationship with their neighbor over recent shootings and blockades. The Serbs have done it, according to their prime minister, in order to take all possible measures to protect the Serbian people in Kosovo. This is eerily reminiscent of the Putin actions dating back to 2014 and his regular interference in Ukrainian politics, all in the name of protecting ethnic Russians. On the 10th of December, Serbs in northern Kosovo set up barricades to protest against the arrest of an ex-policeman, who was suspected of being involved in attacks against ethnic Albanian colleagues. The blockades coincided with a rise in reported shootings, the latest on Sunday. Kosovo's Interior Minister, Ekselal Svekla, said the ex-policeman was one of two suspects arrested over attacks on police officers in the past couple of days. The recent bout of tensions flared up after Kosovo scheduled local elections in the Serb-majority municipalities for the 18th of December, which the main Serb political party said it would boycott. Explosions and shooting were heard on Tuesday as election authorities visited two municipalities in North Kosovo to prepare the vote, but no injuries were reported. Shortly after the roadblocks were erected, Kosovo's president, Vjosa Osmani, announced in a press release that the elections would be postponed until the 23rd of April in what appeared to be a climb down by the government. In response to the ever-worsening situation, the Serbian army announced that it would increase its special forces units, and the army chief General Milan Mojsilovic was dispatched to the border with Kosovo on Sunday. The situation there is complicated and complex, Mojsilovic said Sunday. Northern Kosovo has been especially on edge since November, when hundreds of ethnic Serb workers in the Kosovo police as well as the judicial branch, such as judges and prosecutors, walked off the job. They were protesting a controversial decision to ban Serbs living in Kosovo from using Serbian-issued license plates, a policy that was eventually scrapped. But the mass walkouts created a security and logistical vacuum that has impacted service delivery. Just hours after the barricades were erected, Kosovo police said they suffered 3 successive firearm attacks on one of the roads leading to the border. KFOR, the NATO mission in Kosovo, has increased its presence and patrols in the region in recent months and confirmed that the latest bout of violence came Sunday, when shots were fired in the direction of Latvian soldiers embedded with the force. KFOR said it was investigating the incident and added there were no injuries or material damage. Serbian Prime Minister Ana Brnabić said last week the situation with Kosovo was on the brink of armed conflict. But Kosovo's Security Council, which met Monday, blamed Serbia for the latest deterioration in relations. It accused Serbia of acting with all available means against the constitutional order of the Republic of Kosovo. What we don't want to see is a return to the war that began in 1995 and only ended in 1999. This was a period of immense suffering with an estimated 13,500 dead and almost 1 million displaced. Eventually NATO got involved, which pushed the Serbian forces out of Kosovo and ended with the country having a permanent NATO presence. Now this whole situation brings up 3 juicy conspiracy theories. Let's begin with option 1. The Russians, who we have established, have a super relationship with Serbia, have asked them to stir additional discontent in Kosovo. Or the Russians are doing it themselves. They are doing this to make things uncomfortable for NATO and to potentially start a new war, thereby upsetting the NATO support of Ukraine. Of course, there is no guarantee this is the case, but similar uprisings have begun in Moldova. How will NATO be able to concentrate on the fire in Ukraine when there are multiple fires all over the place? Option 2. The Serbians sense that NATO may be weakening, which could loosen their grip on Kosovo. They may believe that with the trouble in Ukraine, there could be an opportunity to land grab without consequence. It's a long shot, but I am not sure that NATO member states have the appetite for all-out war, even with a small nation like Serbia. They very well may find it necessary to pull out of Kosovo, and with 200,000 ethnic Serbs in the country, the authorities may find it difficult to control an internal insurrection. Dark histories believe without doubt that the Russians are involved in this. It would make excellent sense for them to be, and could, with very little effort, have some positive outcomes for them. What it does tell us is that Russia still has a lot of influence, especially in the post-Soviet bloc, and we should expect more of this to come. Option 3. If Kosovo can be allowed to self-determine and declare independence, why can the 4 annexed regions of Ukraine not be allowed to do the same? Are the Russians hoping to provoke a reaction out of NATO that reaffirms their belief to self-determine, thereby drawing a focus to their perceived double standards? This could be a major propaganda coup, allowing for its use on the world political stage. A super example is how the Spanish refused to accept the Kosovo independence in order to strengthen their argument on the issue of Catalonian independence. We hope you have enjoyed this video and ask you to leave a comment and drop a like.